So we can also have oscillation of the springs two ways. So already we have done horizontal oscillation and vertical oscillation. So already we discussed. So in both the cases, all these quantities, velocity, acceleration, all these things are same. Okay. So horizontal oscillation, you can see this is the minimum position before oscillating. Already we explained. And this is after extending. And second figure is again it is coming back to. So it has given starting from mean position, extending, then come back to mean position and then compressing. So at we can call it that left side of the spring, we can call it as displacement, minimum displacement, and right side we can indicate as maximum displacement. So at minimum displacement and maximum displacement, the object gains maximum potential energy as the object has reached its amplitude of motion. So the first twin, there is no oscillation, not even stretching or compressing. At that time, the energy possessed by the spring is maximum potential energy. So that is this picture so far. Then second picture, after that what happened? The objects gain the maximum velocity, hence maximum kinetic energy passes the mean position. So from the mean position, it has passes. So this maximum potential energy can be converted into kinetic energy. So this is only explanation of that equation, what we have written. Half Ka square, total energy is equal to half Ka square. So that is only explanation of that, nothing else. So you don't have to study, but we can just understand. That's it. Not for understanding sake, I am giving you. Next thing, total energy of the spring mass composite, kinetic energy and potential energy. Since spring has elasticity, the same potential energy, we call it as elastic potential energy. So when an object is moving upward, we call it as a gravitational potential energy. We have learned this, elastic potential energy and gravitational potential energy. So the potential energy possessed by the spring, we call it as elastic potential energy. So that is why it is given. Thus, total energy of the spring mass system is equal to elastic potential energy plus kinetic energy, and total energy is conserved for the system, and the system obeys conservation of mechanical energy. So this is proved that definition, that expression, total energy expression, and the graph and including this picture proves you that it obeys the conservation law of energy. Okay, so that's about horizontal oscillation. Same thing happen, vertical oscillation also same. So spring can be oscillate both ways, horizontal or vertical. So in vertical oscillation, this is the condition of it, you know. Again, initial position, they are at equilibrium position, there is no stretching. Then what happened? It has been stretched, therefore the length is increased, the height of that is increased. Again, go back to equilibrium position, and fourth figure, it is compressing, again coming back to equilibrium position, then again started extending. So this process continues. It is a vertical oscillation of the springs. Similar to the horizontal oscillation, the object gains maximum elastic potential energy and maximum kinetic energy. Thus, total energy of, in this case also, total energy of the system has been obeys conservation law of energy. That is the only thing is telling you. So this is equilibrium position. They are at rest, maximum potential energy, kinetic energy increased, and then it go back again, compressed, come back to equilibrium position, then again started the next oscillation. So up to here, one oscillation. Up to here, one oscillation. From here, second oscillation started. Similarly, horizontal oscillation, 1, 2, 3, 4. At this point, at this point, one oscillation, again it started stretching. That is the second oscillation starts. Okay, that's it. Someone is telling something. I can hear some sounds. Or someone please mute it. Shubham Pal, please move it. This is plus 1B. Shubham Pal. Can you leave the classroom? With it. No time to waste. Okay. So next we are moving on to a comparison between uniform circular motion and simple harmonic motion. You don't have to write, only just understand, because in uniform circular motion also you are getting the same velocity equation. So we are not going to repeat that equations again. Just I want to show you how same equation, that is a sine omega cos omega t plus phi, then minus omega a sine omega t plus phi velocity, then acceleration minus omega omega square a cos omega t plus phi. All this equation we have learned already in terms of the spring. So here we only have going to get the same equations only by visualizing a uniform circular motion. So just understand. So uniform circular motion also have all the quantities. Radius A. So here instead of amplitude, what we are having? Radius A. So A stands for amplitude in the case of spring, and here it is the radius which gives you the amplitude. Okay, so that is why in the uniform circular motion we represent amplitude A, which is equal to the radius A. In spring it was the upward motion and downward displacement. So that is only difference here. And then velocity, what we are having is angular velocity. Oh, 1 minute, sir. Okay, so here A represents the radius of the circle, that is going to be amplitude, angular velocity omega, and in simple harmonic motion, what is the corresponding value? Instead of radius A, we are having amplitude A. Instead of angular velocity, we are having angular frequency. So that is the only difference between uniform circular motion and simple harmonic motion. So once again, repeat. In uniform circular motion, radius A, and instead of that in simple harmonic motion we have amplitude A, and uniform circular motion we have angular velocity omega, but in case of simple harmonic motion omega stands for angular frequency. Thus simple harmonic motion can be visualized as the projection of uniform circular motion onto one axis. We are just considering one axis, and the phase angle omega t. Phase angle omega t in simple harmonic motion correspond to the real angle omega t. So you can see that there is a ball has been moved. We are considering a ball which is moving on the circumference of the circle. Therefore, angular phase angle omega t symbolizes actually is the at which angle this ball is rotating. That means this. Okay, suppose the ball is reaches up to here and ball is reaches up to here, so that is known as omega t. It's the actual angle at which the ball is rotating on the uniform circular motion. Okay, so that is the assumption we take it. And how does it form a wave motion? So that is the next picture all about. How does it forms a oscillation motion? So that is what I have showed you in this. So if you want, you can just take the screenshot because this is not in your textbook. How it is forming. If you look at here, we have phase difference 5. So phase difference actually at each point, the ball is rotating, it is making a different angle. So up to here, maybe 30 degree or 40 degree. Then up to here, it is 90 degree. Then come to again maybe 125 degree something. And then come back here, it is going to be to up to here 180 degree. Then come back here 270 degree. It goes on. So the ball is moving in a anti-clockwise direction. This is the motion of the ball we are considering. Therefore, how do you form this oscillatory or sinusoidal wave? What we do means, suppose this is the initial phi. So we draw a line and that will be initial position. Then you can see there's another angle here. That means the ball has reached up to this position and you can see there's a dotted lines. It is indicating next phase, that is 5-1. As you go higher, ball reached up to 90 degree. You can see a virtual line which is drawn from the 90 degree corresponding to, that means it is forming the maximum amplitude. So in the case of uniform circular motion, it is the maximum radius at a 90 degree. From here to here, it is a 90 degree again. That means radius in a perpendicular way. Again, it started rotating this way. It is going to be negative axis. You see, it is going to be negative. So corresponding that, the same line is drawn. You will get another point 5-3. So 5-0, 5-1, 5-2, 5-3. Again, come back down, rotate up to 5-4. So it comes to next point. That is becoming negative amplitude since the rotation in the negative axis, positive to negative axis, anti-clockwise direction. And then at 270 degree, you will get the maximum amplitude minus A. In simple harmonic motion, it is minus A. In this case, it is the radius minus A. Again, the ball started rotating, going back to 0 position. That is, it is completing 360 degree. So corresponding point you will see 5-6 some angle and then up to here it is completing 360 degree. That is total 2 pi completed and you are getting a one oscillatory motion or one oscillation. Children, did you understand how it is depicting simple harmonic motion? So corresponding to angle changing. It is moving. The ball is moving in anti-clockwise direction. You can see the circle is in a graph. First quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, fourth quadrant. So in a graph, it is actually is a 2 pi, 360 degree full. So if you consider any angle as it is moving, you extend that line with that angle to the x-axis. You will plot a oscillation or sinusoidal wave. So that is that graph is indicating. I repeat once again. I hope you understood. So this is how the scientist has been proved that is uniform circular motion also is an oscillatory motion. It also exhibits simple harmonic motion. So first starting with the 0 angle, then the balls reached up to this. So the corresponding phase 5-1, then ball reached up to 90 degree, then you got corresponding point 5-2. It is rotating anti-clockwise, then go to 5-3, another point here because it's negative. So naturally the oscillation also decreasing. Then come to 5-4, corresponding point here. Then come to 275 degree, you are getting another point. Then next some angle here, it become 5-6 and it come back to the original position. So this one complete oscillation and the ball completed one rotation. Now next, as usual, again it goes on the same angle and the graph has been, it will be rotating. You will going on the same angles. You consider same angles, then only become a simple harmonic motion. different angle from this, then you can see a damped oscillation line. You will not get a proper one. Okay. So uniform circular motion is a periodic motion. It rotates, it takes same time for 10 oscillation, 10 rotation, 25 rotation, it takes the same time period. So in that case, you can say that uniform circular motion also is a simple harmonic motion. It should passes through the same angles. When you complete, it should passes through the same angle so that you will get the same amplitude in terms of radius. So in uniform circular motion, what you have to think? Radius is behaving like a amplitude. Angular velocity equal to angular frequency. And the phase, how an object is rotating, changing a place, that act like a phi, that act like a phase. Okay. In which phase? Is the positive phase, negative phase, or fourth phase, fifth phase? It goes on like that. Okay. So completing 360-degree over there. So on the basis, these are the equations, same equation, you are not going to write again. It's the same equation we have learned in simple harmonic motion. A cos omega t plus phi, then velocity same. So you don't have to repeat. So velocity and acceleration in terms of uniform circular motion also you are getting the same values. Okay. First cos omega t plus phi minus a omega sine omega t plus phi, and then acceleration minus a omega square cos omega t plus phi, and finally what we learned in the on Friday or on Saturday, that is acceleration is equal to minus omega square x. Why it is happening? Because acceleration is directly proportional to the displacement, and it is also directly proportional to the force. Okay. So here force is acting in the uniform circular motion. Force is acting towards the center. So that is centripetal force. It is acting towards the centripetal force. Okay. So that is about uniform circular motion. Only thing what you know, you can just understand which are the quantities. Radius A, amplitude A, angular velocity, angular frequency. That comparison you should know. Okay. In simple harmonic, which are the quantities are equal to that. Clear? Textbook, the figure is given. I am just giving a single figure, and this figure is not given in textbook. You can have the screenshot to understand how it is forming, an angle. Okay. So sinusoidal displacement of simple harmonic oscillator with time showing variation of starting point in cycle in terms of phase angle phi. In terms of which? Circular motion. Uniform circular motion. Okay. Can I change it? So we got the same equation as it is. So we have 3 examples. You have to explain the simple harmonic motion in 3 examples. Mass on a spring is over. Uniform circular motion is over. And now we are coming to mass on a simple pendulum. How we can define in simple pendulum? There is no difference in this. Same equations, but only thing time period we need to find out in terms of simple pendulum how it is going to be. Okay. Okay. So we have next simple harmonic motion in terms of pendulum. Simple pendulum. Simple harmonic motion in terms of simple pendulum. Next heading. Simple harmonic motion in terms of simple pendulum suspended with the one end with a mass. Simple harmonic motion in terms of simple pendulum suspended one end with a mass. So you can draw the picture. One simple pendulum suspended and bob is act like a mass. You know the bob of the simple pendulum has a mass. And you can draw a dotted lines with one is going left extreme and another one is going right extreme. Same symbol bob is going positive extreme and negative extreme. You can just draw the picture. Then mark angle theta between the vertical line of the simple pendulum and with the shifted position. It's making an angle theta. Since the bob has a mass, so it will experience a tension as it is hanging, and as it is oscillating, it is having a tension. And corresponding to that, you will have weight of the bob, mg. So mg act, it's the resultant vector. Since it is having here, it is resolving into two components. One is mg cos theta and another one is mg sin theta. Mg cos theta and mg sin theta. So you remember resolution. Volume 1 components, vector components. So same we are using here. You remember tension T minus mg. So it is the simple pendulum is behaving like a free body diagram. Simple pendulum behaving like a free body diagram in this case. So if you draw what you call this movement, so this is mg, and if you extend here, you will get vertical component mg cos theta, vertical component mg cos theta, and corresponding that other one is mg sin theta. The horizontal component is mg sin theta. Okay. So this both are making a parallelogram. That was our thing. So this is mg sin theta, mg cos theta. And L is the length of the simple pendulum. L is the length of the simple pendulum. Okay, those who don't want to draw, you can draw it in your textbook, page number 348. Now you only write the derivation. Figure you want to draw, you can follow page number 348, figure 14.8. Figure 14.18. Okay, shall we continue? Explanation of this. So you are considering a simple pendulum in an ideal situation.
Ma'am, page number, can you say again? Page number.
Page number 348. Page number 348, figure 14.18. Figure 14.18. So we are considering an ideal situation. Then only we can have a what you call a simple harmonic oscillation. Okay, otherwise it become damped oscillation, you know, because of the resistance of the air. Okay, so you can write it down. Sir, how many papers counted? Day scholars are. Okay. Okay. Okay, write down. Consider an ideal simple pendulum. Consider an ideal simple pendulum. Consider an ideal simple pendulum. Simple pendulum. Pendulum is made of a heavy bob with mass m. Heavy bob with the mass m, suspended from a rigid support. Suspended from a rigid support. The body is, that means bob. The body is free to oscillate. Free to oscillate. Body is free to oscillate in vertical plane. That means ignoring the friction and all that. Let theta be the angle. Let theta be the angle made by the string with the vertical angle made by the string with the vertical when the bob is shifted. Bob is shifted to a position from its mean position. From its mean position. Mean position means at stationary position. Okay. So we can write the only introduction part. Remaining part we will learn in the next class. Now remaining portions, derivation late. First we write the paragraph of this. Okay. Below that you can write, there are only two forces. There are only two forces acting. There are only two forces acting on the bob. First one is tension. Tension T along the string. That already we have discussed in that volume 1. So I am not going for detail of that. Just write tension T along the string and force due to gravity. Force due to gravity mg along along the vertical plane. The next line, mg resolved into two components. Mg resolved into two components. Mg cos theta and mg sin theta. And L is the length of the pendulum. L is the length of the pendulum. Okay. So we are already written the introduction part. I told you this also you need to study. So remaining balance we will discuss in the last session. Okay. So I'm winding up the session now. Complete writing. You can join the class after 10 minutes. Yeah? 5 minutes. You one minute.